Everyone, thanks for coming. Peja, I've seen your face before.
Yeah,
like here.
You look familiar also to me. Yeah.
Also with this. So Peja will be discussing, giving some practical knowledge today about the product discovery in the physical and the digital world, right?
Yeah.
Are all worlds made equal or not really?
Yeah, as Cesario said, is it a trick question? Yeah, I think they have a lot of things in common. So not that they are equal, they have their specificities. What is the word? Yeah, they're specific anyway. But they have a lot of things in common, so that's why we can use certain techniques in both worlds.
And you said you were going to talk to us about real-life applications. And are there examples where we can apply the same product discovery principles in both the digital and the physical? This is what you want to discuss,
exactly.
Right?
Okay. You're now stealing my show. So.
Okay, good. Peja, you have 50 minutes, and the audience, please, if you have any questions, do drop them via the MatchAbout app, so Peja can use the last 10 minutes to answer these questions. Please.
Thank you. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining me here. The topic of today's session will be a product discovery in the physical world or connected to a physical products. So why have I chosen to speak about product discovery at all? Well, especially in this region, the product discovery is somehow seen as, questionable activity. So you can hear people asking, should we do the discovery at all? Do we need it? I mean, we know what our users want. We know what to build. So do we need the discovery at all? And that's what I wanted to address. And that's what I wanted to talk about. So yes, we need a product discovery, even if you know what your product is. And this goes even more when we are talking about products in a physical world. When you're talking to people who are working at companies that are producing some physical goods, they say, no, this discovery stuff, yeah, I've heard about it, but it's all for the, Silicon Valley type of companies, IT, startups. It's not for me, we're a traditional company, etc. And there is a sort of a paradox there, because when you have a digital product and you put it in front of your customers, it's, let's say, relatively easy and relatively cheap to mend it, to fix something that is not working properly or where users have some issues. Whereas when you have a physical product, it's, let's say, not impossible, but it's very hard to fix it when it's on the shelves. With these are connected, costs, because you have to pull out the product from the market, fix it, pull it back to the market again. And this is expensive. And the funny thing is, this discovery stuff is actually helping you not to come into this sort of situation. And then that's why I see it's sort of a paradox. You have a physical product that is expensive to fix, yet you say the discovery is not for you and you don't see it needed. And this is what I want to talk to you about, hoping that you guys will help me spread this word around and also persuade people that are working with the physical products to do the discovery more often. I will take you to a journey that I've had for the last year and a half, working on a very physical, very traditional product. Okay, so before we start, my clicker is not responding. Here I am. So just a few words to meet each other. I'm working in product management for the last more than 15 years. I've been doing that in different industries, telco, IT, leading products of different sizes, from 0 customers to 1 million customers, monthly active users. Then I've been leading product teams of people managing products. And then for the last 2 years, I'm more or less in a, so to say, consultancy, mentoring, coaching field. So I'm trying to share this knowledge with not only with one company, but with more of them. Okay, that's some essential about me. So what we will be doing in the next 45 minutes or so, we're going to talk a little bit more about the discovery itself. Then we'll take a journey with this product, with this experience that I've had. And then, of course, some wrap-up. So basically, when we're saying discovery, what is it? Just to have the same understanding and same vocabulary. All those activities that brings you from an idea of the product to the spot where you can say to someone, okay, this is something that we want, please make it, is the discovery process. So it goes from identifying the problem or the need that we want to address, finding different opportunities in the ways how we can approach, from which side we can approach this problem, to finding the solutions, testing a lot of hypotheses, and describing the desired product at the end. And why? What's the purpose of it? Well, there are a lot of things why discovery is there, but one thing is crucial, and this is the de-risking. You know, having a product without the discovery is the same as this lady here, you know, passing the street, crossing the street with her eyes glued to her hand, to her phone, not being aware of the surrounding. So very risky endeavor. And the product discovery helps us not to live in this way or not to bring products in this way. And this is the main reason why do the product discovery. And as said, with a physical product, it's even more important. Oops. Somehow I jumped from the full screen. Just give me a second to fix this. Okay. Sorry for this short interruption. I'll fix it right away. I don't know what caused this, but I hope maybe I clicked something on the clicker, so which I hope I won't be clicking again. Okay, let's see if we have the connection here. Yeah, okay. Okay. So with this being said, I'll jump right into this sort of a case that I want to lead you through, or this journey that I want to lead you through. It all begins at a moment when a colleague and a partner in crime for this and me, we were having a chat over beer, talking about rumbling through different ideas that we had that, you know, maybe are worth pursuing, talking about those things. And at one point, we just, both of us being more or less same age, and which is the middle life, basically. So we ended up talking about, have we said everything that we have to those that come behind us? You know, how can we keep on living even when we are not here? And these kind of questions. And now I don't know how many of you are in those phases of life, but just for you younger than this age, just to give you a picture. So, you know, when the moment comes when you start understanding your parents and why some photo album has been important to them, or why this scrapbook or their notes are so important for them, and you start understanding this, and you start asking yourself these questions like, okay, what could I tell to my offsprings, more to my kids? This is actually the point when you're in the middle life. Somehow, these considerations, they don't come earlier. Well, at least for me, they didn't. So when you come to this stage, you start thinking about your, limited life or limited time here, and you start thinking of how I might extend this time. So, as said, both my partner and I, we are still at that age, and we had the similar thoughts. We started thinking about this. How can we, so to say, pass our thoughts, our experience to those that come behind us? And this was the moment of insight. And we said, okay, it seems that there is something to it. It seems that there is something that is worth exploring. And now just to make a quick line between the data and the analytics and the insight, the analytics describe how people, behave in a certain way. The insight gives you those deeper insight, deeper views in the needs of the people, and it brings you this aha moment when you see that there is something connected with the people's need that might be addressed. So we had the insight at that moment, and we thought, okay, so this is something that is worth exploring, this situation where midlife people are actually willing to extend their lives further on. So from this point, we started doing things like, okay, so now let's see what we can do with the insight. And what we didn't want just to jump into solutioning. One of the big caveats for product managers is jumping into solutions. So you haven't still defined the problem well, but you have the solution for it. And we said, okay, we don't want to do it that way. We wanted to explore furthermore this problem that we have sort of felt and see what we can do about it. So we said, okay, let's see if this problem really exists, or is it just for the two of us? And we agreed to approach this from two sides. So we said, okay, we want to validate that the problem exists, so how are we going to do it? We're going to talk to people. We're going to talk to people that are more or less same age as us. We're going to try to stream the discussion to this topic, and then see what they think, what they say, how they feel. And we used the technique of unstructured interview there. So we said, okay, we will just go without any pressure. We'll just go talking to friends, whatever, people we meet at the parties, at the conferences, whatever, and try to, push the conversation toward this end to feel how midlife people see and feel about themselves, about their relationship with those that are coming and the passing of time in general. So as you see, we didn't have a questionnaire, we didn't have exact questions that we want to ask, we just wanted to explore the feeling around it. The second, that was one line of attacking the problem, so unstructured interview. The second line of attack was we wanted to find out the artifacts, the objects that people are using in order to fill this need. And through these discussions with I have the issue with this clicker. I just think that up is up and down is down, but it seems it's vice versa, or maybe I'm holding it in the wrong direction. Let's do it like this. So while talking to people, we have been checking, whether this stands for them, and also through this, what we gain through this is also the objects that they use to fill this need. So again, the need was, I want to pass something behind me. Something when I'm not here, I want something to remain after me. So we did these interviews. It's a bit formal, but it's more like, talks to the specific subjects. And what we found out is also these kind of things that they are using to fill this need, some sort of a scrapbook with paper cuttings, some thoughts around it, etc. And also, and what comes there? Photo albums, family history, different kind of recordings in different sorts. So all these have been artifacts that people are using to fill up this need. And then this was enough for us to say, okay, so there is something. This is not just the two of us having this need. This is also other people also feel this. And at this point you might say, okay, but was this really necessary? I mean, of course, people want to extend their existence. Of course, they want to pass their experience to the future generation. And yes, I could agree. It seems obvious. However, this exercise also gave us the view upon these objects, as I call them, upon these artifacts. And this also gave us both the insight in what exists there, which might help us further on with our solution, but also to stand firm at our beliefs at this moment, to say, okay, so there is really something to it. People really using these kind of objects to fill their need. So, as said, here I will always, put some techniques that we used or some thoughts around the topic. So, as I said, we've used the unstructured interview and also brainstorming about the artifacts, which was filled in with the content from the interviews with people saying what do they need. Okay, so once this phase was done, we said, okay, let's investigate the opportunities that come around this problem. And the way how we did it is actually we said, okay, so we have a problem, we know what we are focusing on, and then let's sort of deliberate, let's think about what are the opportunities there. So why is this step important? Because it widens your view on the problem. So instead of just going into a solution, you are exploring furthermore your field of a problem with these opportunities. And when you're jumping into a solution, you don't know what you're jumping in. You have just one solution and you believe it's the best, whereas you don't really know it. Okay, so how we did it, oh, sorry, I'm constantly, yeah, okay. Let's see what happened here. I should be playing some music at the background so that while I'm fixing this up. I have just a blank page. Cool. Here's the music. Thank you. Thank you. Just not to have awkward silence while I'm doing this, and I don't know why it's probably I'm pressing something wrongly. Good. Okay, I'll try to glue my finger here so not to press this. Yeah, finding opportunities. So what we've done is basically we made a list of different opportunities that we might focus, that we might pursue. And this is sort of opportunities that we found out with the focus on the goal that we set at the middle. So we said, okay, we are looking for to satisfy the need of prolonging the existence and pass their thoughts, meaning customers' thoughts, to those that stay behind them. And we said, okay, we can approach it in different ways. We can offer them help to generate the content, or we can offer them help to pass this content to another generation. content meaning whatever, thoughts, pictures, whatever it is. Or we might help them make this content independent of the technology so that the generations coming after 100 or 300 years can also view it. Or maybe we can help them make this content more engaging, etc., etc. So we listed some like 7 different opportunities. Each of these opportunities might have different solutions connected to it. So the point is, when you start building a solution and you have just one solution in mind, then that's it. You are putting, as they say, all the eggs in one basket. You bet that this solution is really the best one. With this, you're actually extending your view, extending a number of solutions with which you can satisfy the need. So that's what we did here. So through opportunity mapping and through focus on the problem and deliberation around it, we created a set of opportunities that we might pursue. Now, next phase would be the solutioning, choosing the solution. But before going into choosing the solution, obviously we had to agree on which opportunity we want to pursue. And we said, okay, for us, what we want to pursue is this one. We want to help them pass the content to the future generations and maybe help them create this content. And this is something that we decided to go with. This is how we're going to tackle their problem or their desire, their needs. Okay, choosing the solution. So the way how we approach it is, as we were working on different places at that time, and we couldn't just sit around and brainstorm, we said, okay, we're gonna do it offline. Everybody for himself will make a list of the things, of the solution that he might will satisfy this need in the sense of this opportunity. And we made a list of different solutions. And here we combined, first of all, the individual brainstorming, which is very good when you're trying to be creative, because it has been shown then that when you create something, when you invent something by yourself, you have your peace, you have your time, you're not distracted by by anyone, but it's also very good to combine it later on with a group sort of validation of this. So we said, okay, let's do it each by himself. Let's create solutions. And this is basically, no, this is white paper. So these are actually the solutions that are coming, yes. So these are some of the solutions that we found out and said, okay, so these are the things that we might be using. Then we sat together, discussed a little bit, eliminated duplicates, used the dot voting for seeing where our thoughts are, what we see as a best fit for this problem. And basically the size now of these words is actually where our thoughts were going. So more or less, Personalized Cookbook had the most votes, but also Personalized Music List and Letters to the Future Generations were very high at this list. So we said, okay, we will go with this Personalized Cookbook. Another thing that we have been using here is the diverge-converge principle. So we wanted to come up to as much ideas, as much solutions as possible, and then to streamline them back to one solution. Now, one thing that I want to mention here is the decision-making process here. When you're looking at what we are doing, we're creating the product. And we're thinking, you know, there is a significant risk connected to every decision that we make. And that puts a pressure on you, because depending on what you decide, depends whether this will be a failure or a success on the market. And then you start being, you know, uncertain about what you should decide. But the good thing with discovery is that you are actually minimizing the risk of the wrong decision here. Because we have decided to go with a personalized cookbook. But also, we might decide to go with whatever, letters to future generations. What is the risk there? Well, it's very minimal because this is not the end. Making a decision that we're gonna go with this product further on doesn't mean that it will reach the market. It just means that it will go into the next phase, which is the testing of this solution. So if the testing shows that this solution doesn't have attraction, that people are not very much keen on it, then what? Nothing. We just get back to this list and we choose another candidates. And this is what relieved the stress, so to say, from our backs. So we were able to make a decision in a more relaxed way. And we have chosen the cookbook as a solution that we will progress with. So what we used here, just to recap, it's individual brainstorming combined with the group validation. We have been using diverge-converge principle to get as many solutions as we can. And we have also been using the dot voting as a technique for quick making of decisions. Okay. And now we're entering the design phase. So all up to now, it has been, thinking, considering, creating something, but in my mind, in our minds generally. So here now we are going into the something. Now our product is becoming, so to say, visible. We had the help of a colleague, a friend, who's a designer. She helped us with designing these things. But what this phase, and this is the phase that lasted the longest, because we had to test everything that we, envisaged, drawn, created. We wanted to test it with the users to see where they are heading. And now when I'm talking about the testing, about the users, I just want to point out two things. One, when speaking about the users, we actually identified two types of users for this cookbook that we are working on. So one were the ladies, like probably old ladies like my mother's generation, that will be using this cookbook to fill in their recipes, their thoughts, their recollection, their memories, to pass them on to the coming generation, that is to me and to my kids. So this was one group of users. They will be using our product. But then we'll have a sort of buyers or customers, and that's the generation, that is like my generation. Those are people that will buy this product for their mothers, aunts, whatever, to give them to fill in. So the design had to resonate with both groups. We had to find this sort of design that, if a midlife person if midlife person wants to buy, it should appeal to them. But also, if older person is going to use it, it should appeal to them too. And this was very tricky business, and we'll see up to what extent we managed to do this. The second thing that I wanted to point out here is that while testing the design, we have been testing two things. One, we have been testing the visual part, so what the book looks like, what the pages look like, etc. But also what are the features in the book. So we didn't want to just publish a cookbook or just an empty notebook where people would just scribble their recipes. We wanted to give them something that will engage with them, that will push them toward thinking about their memories while writing the recipes. So it also the features had to deal with what questions are there that will stimulate them to use this book even more. Will there be a place for a photo, or will there be a pocket where they could put in some cuttings from the newspapers, or will we ask different questions like who this recipe reminds you of, etc., etc. How many pages should be there? How many sections should be there? So these are all the features that we wanted to test. So as said, while doing the design, we have been working on a constant testing with the people. And it lasted for so long because, each change, each feedback that we got back to the design studio to change it, to alter it, and then test it again. And here you can see some of the cover pages that we have been using throughout the process. Also, inside of the book, with different approaches to the design. So the upper left corner was the first versions of these section pages. And then we figured out that as long as it would appeal to the midlife generation, it's not too likely that the older persons would, connect themselves and their soups or these front meals with these pictures. So we had to redo them. So this was the longest phase. We had several iterations, 5 big iterations and numerous smaller ones. And it really took most of the time for creating this book. As said, what we used here were semi-structured interviews. So not unlike those at the beginning. So these were more like going to the direction of pointing out and leading this what we want to find out. Good. Next phase, entering the physical. So all up till now, it was more or less the same as for any other product. And just let me sort of briefly remind you what we have been doing, what has passed till now. So first of all, we got the insight as something where we should, investigate further on. Then we tested whether this insight, whether this problem that we see is universal, is it valid for more people or just the two of us? With this understanding, with this knowledge, we said, okay, now let's investigate opportunities that exist around this problem. How can we approach making a solution for the problem? And then at that point, we jumped into making a solution for the problem that we see. After the solutioning phase, we got into the design, where we defined, how the design should look like, to whom it should appeal, in what way, what would be the main features of this book that is coming. Now with this settled, we are finally entering the physical space. And now, up to this point, it was all the same whether you're working on any kind of digital product, an app, a website, or you are working on a physical product like a book or whatever, a chair or whatever else. So these steps are the same, basically. They disregard what the product will be. And now we're entering this physical part. Here were actually the biggest pains for us. Why? Well, first of all, I didn't have a clue about the printing. Apart from general knowledge that there is a printing press and, that something should be prepared for printing, my knowledge there was very limited. My partner, having some experience in printing magazines, also had nothing more than this. The only person in our crew that knew something about printing was the designer, and thank you for help over there. But here, we are entering the realm that we don't know. And the problem is that as a product manager, you're making decisions. And these decisions reflect on your product, obviously. And then I remember our first meeting with a guy from the printing company and asking all sorts of different questions to which we have been sort of prepared. The others, we haven't been prepared at all. So the questions like, which type of the paper, how heavy the paper should be, the color, the type of the paper, the binding, how the binding should work, which type should we be using, how will the covers be done, should they be gloss or matte, in which technique should they be done, etc., etc. What type of printing should we be using? So all sort of questions, and we were like, okay, we don't know anything really. The problem is, I said, we have to make decisions, and each of these decisions make the impact on the product itself, on its usability, on the desire of people to use this product, and on the price eventually. So we had to get on board as quickly as we can or could. Okay, so another round of testing with users. So the problem here is, this book should carry someone's memories, someone's thoughts. So it couldn't just be a plain white paper, it had to be something more sophisticated, something where you would like to put your, intimate thought into. Other thing is, this had to endure the test of time. So it should be used throughout the decades, at least. So it should be, durable enough to sustain this time. On the other hand, it should be like sort of a soft and nice to touch, because, there are still something most intimate. You're putting most intimate things in it. So these were all the things that we have been trying to figure out, and another rounds of testing, So we just, as I said, we didn't want it to be a plain paper. We wanted to have some structure, but then it came out. Then when you start writing on this structure, it's not that easy, that then it's all bumpy and pen just won't go smoothly. So we had to test these things around again. The other thing that was a problem here was the binding. So what we wanted to have is the book that might extend through time, so where you could add the pages in it. So obviously some sort of a fixed binding didn't fit in. So from the glue, we said, okay, the glue is not okay because it will be opened and closed whatever, millions of times. So also this woven binding is not okay. It's durable, but we cannot extend it. We had some ideas around it. And then finally we said, okay, we're going with this ring binding mechanism. That's the one to the bottom left. Because it's sturdy enough, it can endure time, it can be, number of pages can be extended, and basically we said, okay, that's what we are going with. Okay, so what would be the finding from here is that once you're entering the field that you don't know, you obviously have to get into it quickly. You have to go into this, to acquire the domain knowledge as soon as possible and in a systematic way. Otherwise, the time is just flying around you. And also we did the testing of each of the components of this product. Finally, we're getting to the first sprint. This was the phase that for us was sort of easy, but still a lot of testing we had to be done here also. The thing is, I imagined it previously that when you do when you prepare something for printing, you give it to the printing guys, they print it. So in case you didn't know, it doesn't function at all. I mean, yes, in theory, but in practice, it's not. So, the things that you see on your monitor and the things that come out from the press are different things. So you thought you have those nice tones, soft tones, emotional tones, but then you get something that is, like bleached and everything. So we had to test several times. We had to fix the printing machine so that the layers of print goes out well. Also, what we just went to it, here is with the printing. We just you have seen these designs previously. so they're pretty colorful, So we didn't go with the plain paper. It had to be basically covered all the way throughout the page itself. So a lot of layers of the color, which then introduced this, trying printing, etc. So, and this is how it looks like. The thing is, when we come to this printing part, I was expecting, the exaltation around it. And when the first copies just came out from the printing press, I was thrilled. I was excited. But I wasn't exalted. This was missing, And the reason why it was missing is because you don't have a product. You just see a ton of papers, just going from the printing machine, but they are not the product. They're just shuffled, printed papers. And this, I had to wait to be exalted for some time, to cut it, to make covers, etc., so that you see the final product, which actually might excite you even more. So what is important for this step is obviously quality assurance of each element that went out of the production. So what comes next? Well, what comes next is actually market validation. So everything up to here was, fine. We've been creating the product. We've been testing it. We've been looking at, assessing whether this will be good or not. And now comes the market validation. Unfortunately, we're at this stage. So we are just, in front of this market validation. So I cannot share with you, the end results. I hope next year, if we meet here, I'll be able to say, okay, you remember what we have been talking about? So these are the results. How we plan to approach this market validation is, first of all, we are going with the small batches, with the small circulations. So we are printing only 50 copies of this first book, because this is also a test. So we don't see it as, we are putting it to the market and ta-da, we are going big. So this will also be the test. And what we are going to test is with our friendly users, we're going to test how do they use this product? How often do they use it? What is the critical question here is, mainly those ladies that will be our users, they already have some sort of a cookbook. They already have some, notebook that they are piling their recipes, whatever, thoughts, clippings from the papers. So the main question is, will they give up what they are used to? And bear in mind that these are oldish ladies, So will they give up of what they used to just to switch to our product? This is a big question that we'll try to answer to during this phase. And second thing that we're going to test is, of course, the pricing. So we're going to go with the social networks. We're going to offer there our product and see how it goes, whether this pricing that we have envisaged, is it really okay for the customers? Will they buy it at this price? Okay, that being said, let's wrap up. Let's see what was the learnings, what were some of the failures, what I would be doing differently now if I'd repeat this whole process again. So, whether it's worth it. Yes, I think definitely it was worth it. When you look at the total investment that we had, it was something like between 500 and 1,000 euros, including the design and the printing of testing pages and everything. So, even for the two of us, it was relatively cheap. And let alone, the company that is already established, has a lot of products, etc., etc. So even if you'd engage the consultant to help you with this, it would still be cheap, because what is the alternative? Alternative is to go with your eyes blind, to cross cross the street with the eyes stuck to your phone. So you are imagining your product, you are just playing with it in your minds, and then, boom, you're at the market. So in between, virtually nothing happens that would show you where you are, going astray. So this is the reason I said at the beginning. So de-risking of the launch of the new product is the purpose of the discovery. So yeah, that is how I see the whole process. What I would do differently? Well, first of all, we spend a lot of time. We wasted a lot of time, so to say. So as I said, so this was the journey of a year and a half. So, and it didn't have to last that long. I mean, it was just a sort of lack of our focus from our side, doing other stuff in parallel, but it really didn't have to go this long. Connected to it, what I would do differently is I would approach it more as a sort of an business enterprise than some sort of a pet project, you know? Because what would be different is if you structure it as a sort of a business endeavor, you put more graveness, you're more serious around it. And then you put yourself some steps, tasks that you have to finish and some timelines. And then you don't get just, lost in this whole time, doing nothing basically or doing minor things. So this would be how I would approach it if I'd be doing it now again. And the last question that there is, should we do this at all? This is something that we have this is something that we have started with. And to me, the only question here is, do you try to innovate or to imitate? And this is the question that you should be asking if whatever your boss, CEO, whatever function he works on, if ask you, do we really need a discovery? The counter question would be, are we innovating or are we imitating? Because if you are innovating, then you don't know actually where you're heading. You're producing something new. It doesn't have to be a big innovation like no one ever heard about it. The cookbooks are there for a millennia probably, I don't know. So you might be innovating a part of it, whatever, a business model or introducing some other aspects or reframing the product. But in the moment when you're innovating, you are actually doing something that you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what to expect. And then, yes, you have to do a discovery. You have to slowly touch things in the dark to shed some light to it. Whereas if you're imitating, then you don't have to do this kind of discovery because someone has done it already for you. You're copying someone who has been done it before. So basically, you can rely or you choose to rely on them. Both of those are valid business strategies. You can do either, but just, I like when we call things the way they are. So the final question is, are we innovating or are we imitating? And that's the whole, the bottom line that we go with the discovery. And this is something that I would like to leave you to ponder around these days. And I'm hoping there are some questions, but I'm also open. I'll be mingling around, so just approach me if you'd like to discuss this topic furthermore. Thank you very much for your attention.
Good.
Veronica, should I continue leading this show from this point?
You should absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
You should absolutely continue to lead this show at this point. So, I don't know if we have any questions from the audience because we will not have it in the app. That's what we had agreed. So if we would like to put a little bit more light and hear perhaps from someone in the audience directly. Otherwise, I do have a few questions for you. So we cannot see you. It's okay if you get up and ask us a question. Oh, there is one. Can you please come forward so we can hear you?
I'll actually stand up.
Okay.
Yeah. One question. When you were picking the idea what product to make, over that year, the initial starting point, was the amount of investment the filter for selecting the idea where you actually want to dedicate your time and energy and actually go through all of this, was the amount of investment the question and the filter at that point, or it was completely random?
Peja, just to make sure, I would like you to, or I can repeat the question so the people in the back seats can hear the question, so they have an idea what the question was.
Yeah.
And could you please tell us your name and your organization?
Marco, okay. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Marco asked if the level of investment was criteria that we used in choosing the solution that we will go on. And so what I heard is actually two questions in your question. First is when we have been thinking about starting this idea at all, we didn't have a clear picture so that we are going to go with the cookbook. So we had we had the insight, we had the problem that we wanted to solve. We have something like, this might be this and this might be that, and maybe we should go this way and that way. So we started without thinking of the investment needed, because we didn't know where we will be investing. And so as the time or as the process went, we came to this, okay, so we have so many solutions, and then let's decide upon the solution. So we were looking at the, so to say, best solution. Even at that time, we didn't bother ourselves too much with the investment in this case, because we did have it somewhere, it has been risen as a question at one point of our discussion, but we said, okay, but all these other solutions are somewhere there. So these were not, there weren't big discrepancies like this would require $1 million, and this is just whatever, $50,000, whatever dollars, So they were more or less aligned, so we didn't have this challenge. And the third thing is, even if there would be a significant investment involved, I would try to go through the process with the solution that I believe is the best, all the way till the production where the investment is needed. So I would try to extend this discovery process as long as possible with the prototypes, with some testing. I'm hearing some echo here. With some first batches, releases, small amounts of product to see whether this investment makes sense, and then I would make a decision. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, please.
Hello, I'm Branko.
Branko.
Yeah, you mentioned that now when you finish this discovery work, you are going to validate this profitability assumption, actually viability of your business model. So what is your riskiest assumption in this context?
Yeah.
What
Okay.
is viability?
Yeah. Okay, so the question is, what is the riskiest assumption regarding the viability of the product to the market? Well, as I mentioned, the thing that I see the most problematic is the switch in behavior of future users. And this is what I'm looking forward to find out what will happen, So from the business perspective, I mean, I'm not too worried. This is not an expensive product. So especially as we are planning to do in small batches, this is the digital printing, so we can do it once we prepared everything, so we can easily reproduce it again. And then this small batch is not too expensive. So I'm not there. This is not where I'm worried about. Where I'm worried about is one thing is changing the behavior, and to be quite honest, as I don't have experience, there is, so to say, the logistics. I see Milos, my friend, who has more experience in this part than me. So I'll probably consult with him at one point. But what I mean is, okay, so you have a batch of 50 copies, and then what happens when you're sold out? What happens with the orders that are coming between the moment when you run out of the copies and you make new copies, whatever it is. How to predict is it possible on those small batches to predict, when you will run out of the copies? So these kind of are the ones that are worrying me. But in a sense, that's okay, that's logistics, that's something that can be handled. But the problem that I see, the biggest problem is this switch in behavior. So I'm asking these old ladies, like in their late 60s, 70s, to start using something that they have not been, that they are not used to. And basically what we are sort of relying on, or we're hoping on, is that this midlife generation is sort of our advocates to them, because they will be the ones that will be interested in getting this book filled in, So, and that they will help us, So to me, the way I see it is, I'm trying to convey the message of importance of this product to my generation, hoping that they will then pass this information and to their mothers, aunts, whatever.
So how are you going to test the willingness to pay?
We will test it with the friendly users. So we'll distribute a number of copies to the friendly users that we have the easy access to. So we can go to their homes, see what's happening. We can visit them like every 15 days to see if there is a progress, and then to interview them why there is no progress. If there is no, do they have some, issues with it, what they are using it for, how are they using, etc. So this would be our entrance to get the insight in how they behave, the friendly users.
Peja, thank you very much. So the last question was, how do you test the willingness to pay, right? This was what the answer was for.
Just
to make sure that people...
Yeah, I think I repeated, but if I haven't. So the question was, what are the critical challenges that we see, sorry for rephrasing it, but the critical challenges that we see in getting this on the market.
Awesome. We are officially done with this session. Now we have the coffee break of 30 minutes. Then we are meeting here again, so at 12:15 with Nigel Turlow. Oh, I cannot see you because this is blinding. But he's going to talk about, we'll discuss later. We already discussed, and it's going to be awesome, just like this one was.
Thank you.
So enjoy your coffees, enjoy your breaks. Make sure to be here on the main stage for Nigel's presentation. Make sure you check in all of the corners in the agenda what is something that you really find valuable, something that you would really love to attend. So not only the sessions that have the freebies or the promise of freebies, but something that you will also get for free, obviously, but more as a knowledge. So enjoy your coffee, enjoy meeting other people. Peja, you will also be around. Meet you
the whole day today and tomorrow. So
awesome. So thanks a lot. Thanks, Peja.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.